emergency episode of Friends of Film, a podcast discussing movie news and theatrical releases. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes by searching Friends of Film. As always, I'm your host, Cooper Hood, the man who once had an idea to bring together a group of average people to see if we could become something more, so that when the world needed movie news to discuss, the world had us. Joining me on this adventure, as always, is Josh Straley.
Ooh, epic.
Yeah, it is epic.
Didn't know we had such a mythos surrounding this pod.
You know.
We
were formed for a reason.
And
the reason was
to
discuss the Avengers Infinity War trailer.
And it's finally come.
It is here. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I watched an hour and a half of GMA this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Woke up at 6:30 because I was so excited I couldn't sleep. Woke up before my alarm even went off.
Right.
And I just sat there waiting really? For this trailer.
Oh, great.
And it was pretty epic.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about it, talk about our reaction to it, kind of give our overall impressions, and then do basically a frame-by-frame breakdown analysis of the entire thing, as we've done in the past for trailers like with Justice League, or we did one with The Last Jedi.
Yep.
But this one, it's getting its own pod because it's so big.
Right.
It's our second emergency episode. And this was almost fitting because it's our 100th episode this week. So we're going to call this a primer to the 100th.
Sure.
Because, Marvel obviously is a big fan of our podcast. And they're like, hey, it's the 100th episode of Friends of Film. We know Cooper's a huge fan.
Of course.
Let's give him the Infinity War trailer to talk about.
Makes sense.
But even then, I don't know if we'd have enough time in a regular episode to talk about this, as well as the other news that's come out this week. So it's an emergency episode. Mm-hmm. It worked out perfectly. If this goes well, depending on the time limit, depending on my schedule, depending on how many times I'm rewatching this trailer over and over again, this may go up on YouTube, our long forgotten YouTube page. May put it up there with our voices, as well as with the scenes. You can see the scenes that we're talking about as we're talking about them, if that's something that could be beneficial to you guys, even though hopefully you have already seen the trailer to this point. But we got it this morning. Yesterday, I know we're just delaying this as much as possible. It seems like it's killing me, but I just wanted to give credit to Marvel for announcing the trailer the way they did. They put together a compilation of fan reaction videos to previous MCU trailers, kind of did this whole thing building up to the reveal that the trailer's tomorrow. And then they also have fed into the fandom a little bit, with Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo being their notorious leakers and the ones who can't keep any secrets in the MCU family. And they revealed the first post yesterday by having Tom Holland go on Instagram Live and being like, oh, look, I got this package from Mark Ruffalo. Oh, look, guys, it's the poster. Oh, I wasn't supposed to show this. Oh, no. And I love that they're honoring the fans and be like, this is for you. We know this means a lot. And we're also going to play it up to your expectations the way we reveal things, and make, I think, the fans as much a part of this movie as possible. But I've been talking for a while.
Yeah, so cut the crap now and get into it, man. What did you think?
Oh, so good. It was
right.
so good. It was, I don't know if I could say it was everything I imagined, because I had imagined scenes that were described in the Infinity War D23 trailer that we talked about at length, and those scenes weren't in there. So then I was like, oh, I wish I got to see these scenes, but we got to see all this other stuff, which was pretty exciting. Got chills, tons of excitement. I'm so amped for this movie. It's coming very quickly, as hard as it is to believe. It's 6 months away. And before we get into kind of the breakdown of the trailer itself, I knew instantly, it starts with a voiceover, which is great, and kind of, shots of all the different characters. But then when Silvestri's score kicked in from the original Avengers, I was like, oh, I love it. I love it already. And that's when I knew, Marvel's taking care of us. It delivered on everything I'd wanted, and it has plenty of things to talk about, as we will do for the next, I don't know, several minutes. But those are my thoughts. The big Marvel guy here. Yeah. What did you think of this trailer, and your general thoughts?
Okay, general thoughts. I think it's delivering on the story the way I thought. I was expecting it to. I love the first Avengers film. Didn't really like Age of Ultron at all, because but then came Captain America: Civil War, which is like Avengers 2.5.
Yeah.
And it kind of continues the disjointed union, or like that chemical mixture that Coulson describes early in the first Avengers, or is that Nick Fury?
If Coulson's describing it,
no,
it's in
Ruffalo
Avengers.
Describes.
Oh,
in
they're
Avengers.
like
yeah.
And
then all of a sudden, Infinity Wars trailer comes up, and it just everything seems cold and broken the way things were left after Ultron and Civil War.
Yeah.
And then we're watching the trailer like, yeah, this is it. And then all of a sudden, it all just picks up, like you said, that original score from the first Avengers pops up. Captain America steps out of the dark and all these things. And, it's like, oh, hey, this is why I love the first movie so much. And, yeah, it's very cool to see all these characters that have been, especially in this most latest phase, who have been separated and have nothing to do with anything at all.
Yeah.
Colliding in so many ways. But yeah, it just felt really good.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't have many doubts that they'd be able to pulling this all together. I didn't think they wouldn't be able to pull this off because of the Russo's history in doing so. With Civil War, they pulled together so many different character arcs and character threads and brought it all into one story basically seamlessly, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and it looks like they're doing the same here, where they're pulling in Iron Man, they're pulling in Doctor Strange. Cap is back with his whole team. Black Panther's coming in. The Guardians are here. Thor's here. Hulk's here. Everybody. It's a big party.
Yeah.
And each of them feel like the characters they should be in an Avengers movie. They feel like they're the characters they have been in their previous solo movies. They feel like they should be here, which is also important. It doesn't feel like, oh, I don't know if you need to be here because, you're not that important. Like, I think you can argue for Civil War, there's, Spider-Man's, he's he doesn't have to be in this movie.
Shoehorned in.
But he is brought in for the expansion of the universe, and I think the same could go for a couple people on Cap's side as well. But let's get into the trailer specifically.
Yeah.
We start off with just kind of just a regular shot of an orange planet. Don't know what this planet is.
Right.
Based on the look of other scenes that happen in this trailer, I believe this is definitely not Earth, for one, but I think this is going to be a very important set piece of the movie, and a place that could eventually see, Iron Man journey there, battling Thanos, and trying to combat the Mad Titan himself. But other than that, we don't really get too much info on what's happening here.
Yeah, it's just like I said, I think I pulled it up to watch right before we started, and like, it's kind of a Star Wars-esque opening there, because, we get this little, like, that click noise, not really a click noise, but it's like touching a dial pad, and then the camera spins from an angle and then shows us that planet. And like you said, talk about some other world out there, and this definitely looks like another world, especially in subsequent shots throughout the trailer that seem to establish an orange planet. Yes,
and the very next shot that is happening as Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury is saying there was an idea. So he's starting off this monologue that is combined for, 6 different people, basically kind of setting up what Infinity War is going to be. But the first shot we see of an actual character is Iron Man, unsurprisingly, but it's just kind of looks like it's Tony Stark. It's not Iron Man's suit, it's Tony. He's there, the orange background's behind him, hinting that it is that same orange planet from the very first shot. And he looks a little worse for the wear.
He looks well done. I mean, like, roasted, battered, bruised, bloodied, or just charred. I mean, some kind of fire.
Yeah, I don't know. He's basically like hunched over. It looks like he's holding somebody else's hand, but we believe it's just his hand.
Yeah, and on second look, it does look like that. Okay.
And that, like, he's clearly in shock, in grieving, possibly. It wouldn't surprise me if when this movie comes out and we see the full, sequence of events that lead up to this moment, if there's somebody laying on the ground there in peril or even in death, and who that's going to be, I don't know, but it's setting the stakes early for what is to come in this trailer, and I love it. But the next thing we see then, or we start to hear Tony then saying, to bring together a group of remarkable people. And as this is playing out, we see Bruce Banner just in a bunch of debris. We don't know what's happened, and then we cut real quick, and standing over top of him, Doctor Strange and Wong. Hulk has fallen into the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yeah, I mean, like, just messed it up completely because, like, there he is, and then I think there's another shot right after it or beyond that. I think he's an establishment. So then you see this big crevice that he's made in the stairwell. Beautiful stairs, by the way. And you know, I don't know. He's back on Earth.
He is.
So that sparks a billion questions. First of all, how did he get there?
Or, I mean, possibly even more importantly, how does he fall directly into the roof of Doctor Strange's house? Was this purposeful, or was he fighting Thanos and Thanos just like, Chuck, throw you down, and he like he tries to attack Doctor Strange by throwing Hulk at him?
I don't know. That's a good question, but it almost looks like it's a startup point, right?
Possibly. I mean, from what we know from the D23 trailer, Thor is like the first thing we see in that, and he's just floating out in space, and then he gets hit by the Guardians. So if something's happened that destroyed that Asgardian ship, and Hulk went flying, is it possible that he just came flying perfect trajectory to Earth and crashed into the Sanctum Sanctorum?
How does Hulk just go flying? I mean, can he survive in space?
Something like, if Thanos smacked him, in space, his momentum would just continue to carry him.
How do the physics like that work?
I don't know.
I'm thinking this though. I mean, we'll get to it in a second, but I think Hulk was deposited there by somebody else, not Thanos, but someone who's a little bit trickier. And
really,
because there's an establishment in Ragnarok, of course, that a particular person perhaps that knows magic, like Loki or anyone else on board that Asgardian ship, could have sent him there because that's on Earth, and they know that dude knows magic. So perhaps, and that kicks off, and that's sort of Stark's MacGuffin, like, oh, hey, Bruce is laying in the inner sanctum of some magical doctor guy. I better go check it out.
So just to clear it up, you don't have to be cagey.
I think Loki sent him there for sure because they're being attacked by.
They're being attacked by Thanos.
By
and the
Thanos,
Black Order,
right? And another. We'll get to it a little bit later, but it looks like Loki is certainly, succumbing, or at least bending the knee in some respects. So perhaps it was sort of like, oh, Thor just got knocked out. Okay, well, see ya, Hulk. Magic. Hey, don't kill me. Here's this.
Interesting. I could see that. I mean, I guess it would explain. I'm just trying to figure out how Hulk lands directly in the Sanctum Sanctorum. So I guess if Loki sent him there, maybe his spell or whatever he used to transport him there wasn't pinpoint accuracy, and he, dropped Hulk off in the sky, and then he fell through the. I mean, that's possible. The poor Sanctum Sanctorum's been through a lot with the Thor Ragnarok crew. Mjolnir destroyed pieces of it as far as we could hear, and then now Bruce is falling through the sky. And
before that, what's his name? Just totally trashed it as well.
Oh yeah, yep.
Mads Mikkelsen's character, whose name escapes me.
Yeah, but outside of that, I like that we're getting intro to we're bringing all these characters together very quickly. We see. I mean, if this is the case, and if it is, if like you speculate, it is Loki that sends him here, then then it's setting up and it's getting Doctor Strange and Wong into the mix very early on, we would assume. So I like that a lot. Moving on from that scene, then we get a cut over to, I don't know exactly where they're at. I think it's like, some European country. Okay. But we see a very human-looking Paul Bettany as Vision and Scarlet Witch. They're bunkered up together in a room. Looks like they're hiding. Not a surprise necessarily, but I think the most interesting part of this comes when they cut back to Vision to see his full human form, but he still has the Mind Stone. What's happening here?
Is it a vision or something? Not a vision, but can she conjure illusions?
Possibly.
Could that be it then? Maybe?
That could be. I think it's one of two things. And as this is playing out, Vision joins the monologue, the voiceover stuff, and says, to see if we could become something more.
Mm-hmm.
So this is either, I think, an evolution of Scarlet Witch's abilities and her hexing powers, and she's able to either manipulate Vision's body actually and the physical appearance of it, or maybe she's put a spell on herself to make her see him that way.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting if she really wanted to be with him but couldn't get over the robotic look of him.
Right.
That would be an interesting thing to see play out. But it could also be Vision maybe figuring out more of his abilities. I mean, we've seen him change densities.
That's right.
He can phase through objects. He can. I mean, even when he was first born in Age of Ultron, he looked at Thor and was like, "All right, so this is the look." Gave himself a cape, armor, modeled after Thor. So I guess it's possible that Vision can manipulate his entire form then, and then could be like, well, I don't need to look like this, and everybody knows me as Vision,
right?
Because I'm big, green, red, and yellow.
Yeah.
But I could manipulate myself to just look like a human, and that makes sense.
Yeah, do a terrible comb over with the bangs or something like that. And he's got the Mind Stone hidden.
I guess I don't know why you wouldn't be able to hide the Mind Stone then, unless it's just
me either
part of him.
Beats me.
But we will obviously be talking a lot more about Vision as we get through this more. We next progress over to Thor. He's standing just kind of looking out over the cosmos. I believe this is inside the Milano, inside of the Guardian ship. And he says, so when they needed us, we could fight the battles. Now, if you look closely at what is happening in the windows that Thor's looking out of, it looks like there's fire, smoke, destruction, or something's happening. And I wonder if this is, again, the tease that, building off of the Thor Ragnarok post-credit scene, that Thanos came to get the Tesseract, or whatever happened that led Thanos to the paths of Thor, Korg, Hulk, Loki, Valkyrie, everybody.
Yeah.
And the Guardians pick him up, bring him inside, and they're like, hey, do you know anything about this? And then he looks out in space, and he just sees his ship that had all the rest of Asgard's citizens on it, just on fire, smoking, and putting basically an end to the Asgardian race.
Yeah, that's going to be a devastating kickstart for Thor's plot lines for these next two films, if that's the case. Any possibility that the flames coming off are from Xandar? Oh,
that's possible.
Because we do know Thanos has to make a pit stop there, right?
Yes, that is true. I mean, we know from, as you alluded to, that in the trailer it shows that he has the Time Stone, not the Time Stone, sorry. He has the Power Stone, aka the Orb from Guardians, as well as the Space Stone, which is the Tesseract from, Avengers, from, Captain America, and many other films. So he has those two for sure. The order of which he gets them, it looks like he has the Power Stone first. So, it would then stand to reason that, yes, he would attack Xandar first, but if Thor's with the Guardians, I think he would already have the Tesseract. He would have the Tesseract then as well. So unless the Guardians are going back to show him the destruction of Xandar, it'd be like, because he is confused about who Thanos is for whatever reason, and then they're like, look, he did this really bad thing as well as this other bad thing that affected you. We need to help each other. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Or possibly they haven't been back to Xandar since it was destroyed, so it's just kind of like, hey, let's go to Xandar. Oh, nope, it's gone. Okay.
Shoot. I don't know. I would hope that the Guardians are somehow involved with Thanos' attack on Xandar, that they know about it.
Perhaps that's their plot.
Yeah. I would like to think that, Xandar gets attacked by Thanos very early on in the movie. Maybe John C. Reilly appears very briefly, hits up Star-Lord and is like, hey, we're under fire here. There's this really big purple guy attacking us, and he just took the orb. We're all screwed. And then that's when the Guardians are like, crap. Okay, we gotta get into this. And then, but they're too late, and then they go after to find Thanos, and that's when they come across Thor. I wonder if that is how
there we go.
This will all play out. But the next thing we see then is we get to hear Scarlett Johansson's voice. Yep. She says that they never could So again, this is all continuous, one sentence, one statement, but we don't see her right away. Instead, we see Bruce Banner. We see Mark Ruffalo again, not in his Hulk form, in his Bruce Banner form. So even though he was worried at the end of Thor Ragnarok that if he goes down to fight Fenris Wolf, that this could be the last time he ever turns.
Right.
That's not the case. He comes back somehow. He looks to be in Wakanda.
Yep.
And the big Hulkbuster arm is sitting next to him.
They're very casual about it, too. It
Yes.
looks like he doesn't look super distressed.
No.
The shot of Johansson, or Black Widow, she's just kind of like, Bruce, you're just hilarious.
Well, I like that she just gives him like a nice little like half smile.
Right.
Like, it's good to see you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so they don't seem too distraught about whatever has happened,
No.
especially to the Hulkbuster.
And like I wonder if this is the first time they're seeing each other since he's back. Because if so, either the circumstances at hand are just so large that they can't deal with the emotional baggage and history that they have with one another, and there's like, all right, it's good to see you. We gotta gotta go deal with this other thing real quick. But I don't think that because we see the Hulkbuster there. Yeah. As we'll get to later on, when we actually see it arrive in Wakanda, it's not gonna be Tony there.
No,
Bruce is in the suit.
Bruce is in the Hulkbuster.
Yeah, I think Bruce is in the Hulkbuster.
Oh, that would be rad.
Because either he's afraid to transform again because, again, he has that fear of, if I transform, I could lose it. And they're like, all right, well, you got to get to Wakanda. So we don't have any Quinjets. We don't have anything. And Tony's like, all right, get in this Hulkbuster suit. And then he's like,
just sent him that way.
I don't know about that. Like, I have bad memories with this thing. But then he has to do it anyways. Right. So I think that'd be a fun way. And I mean, why else would just the arm of the Hulkbuster be right next to Bruce Banner?
He doesn't know how to pilot this thing, and it's much more playful. Oh, you flew that thing here? Well, it flew me here. Right. Okay, well, glad to see ya. Yeah, and I bet that could be because this trailer in total doesn't have a lot of levity. No. And I mean, I imagine if Ruffalo is flying in the Hulkbuster, but it's really, the Friday program, the ones that piloted it, I could see him having some fun and being like, I don't like this. Right. Please put me down. Or even I could see like Tony like forcing it on him against his will. Oh, yeah, like, absolutely.
Friday, take this guy, take him to Wakanda. And they're like, okay. And he's like, wait, what? No. Yeah. And, we obviously see that he hulks out in Wakanda, so... Yeah, exactly. He's not going to fight the Hulkbuster
Right,
suit.
And the only other possible explanation is that Rhodey got it out there. Yeah, because he is on location there too. That's true. Possibly.
I mean, yeah, I guess that could be possible because in Age of Ultron we only see the Hulkbuster when Iron Man is inside of it in the Iron Man suit. Yep. So
it's more of an exo suit for the Iron Man suit.
Right. It's just extra protection. So
exactly.
That could very well be the case. But then we get all the establishment shots out of the way. We get to see most of the original team. No Hawkeye at all in this trailer, actually.
None.
Which we'll get to as we kind of run down at the end of this who's missing from this. But after we get to see the Marvel Studios logo pop up, get to hear that Silvestri score kick in, that's when we get that shot that you mentioned earlier of Wong, Doctor Strange, Bruce Banner, and Tony Stark standing in the Sanctum Sanctorum with the big hole in the stairs behind them. Yeah. And something's clearly going wrong outside. And as the next couple of shots play out, we hear Josh Brolin's Thanos. It's not technically the first time we've heard him, in Guardians, post-credit scene of Age of Ultron, but he has some gravitas to him this time around. Yeah. There's no modification to his voice. It's just pretty much straight Brolin. And he says, in time, you will know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, that to fail all the same.
Ooh.
Great line.
It is a good line.
I love that. I love the way they're setting him up already. But as far as the scene that we're seeing on screen itself, if you look very closely in Tony Stark's right hand, you can see a little light that looks like a flip phone, which is the phone from the end of Captain America Civil War. So clearly, I think you're probably more on track instead of my theory of, Thanos throws Hulk into the Sanctum, that somehow, some way, Bruce Banner winds up here on purpose. Tony Stark is called, and, Bruce explains to him all that's happened to him in the last couple of years, and then Doctor Strange, with all of his magic powers and kind of overseeing the protection of Earth, can sense the threat of Thanos coming, and they call Tony, explain that all to him, and then Tony's like, okay, us four, we're not gonna cut it.
Right.
We need backup. I gotta give my old pal a call, and that's when he finally, puts their differences aside, calls Cap, and is like, we got a problem, and we may not like each other anymore, but we have to come together to save the universe, possibly. And I like that added detail, if that's what it is.
I did not catch that. It is very subtle.
It is.
I'm looking at it, and it's just like there's just a little bit of a there's some white light coming in, and then there's like fluorescent, and it's just like, oh, there it is, nice.
Yeah. Next shot we see, then we get to see Tom Holland back as Peter Parker. First time we see him in this trailer, and we also get our first look at Spidey sense,
which is fantastic.
It is. It's fantastic.
It's not even like Goosebumps style like we'd seen in 2 previous movies. This is something a lot cooler.
Yes, but it's also important to note, that we didn't see this in Spider-Man Homecoming. There was somewhat of a big deal made about this, and I don't think this is a retcon, like, oh well, he didn't have it then, but he has it now.
Right.
I think it's just that he didn't necessarily need it in Homecoming, and now he's getting it because the threat is so large.
Yes.
That his Spidey senses
just
have
overload.
to pick up on that, whereas the threat of Vulture's attack may not have triggered a Spidey sense, but a threat as large, as powerful as Thanos, and that weird metal ring in the sky is like, hey,
yeah, exactly.
That doesn't look great.
I mean, there's a difference between being in the same area as your opponent and whatnot, like you said, like being in the same vicinity. That'll click off sirens in your head, but you're so far removed from it. But the idea that his hair just goes voomp, like from static or from just flat to totally static,
right?
Because something's in the air, like that's that dangerous. It's very cool. And then obviously, yeah, look out on that's not the Brooklyn Bridge, but it's one of the bridges out of the Long Island, and you just see, oh snap, that should not be there.
Right? Yeah, definitely. I don't know what it is though. Like,
it's a portal.
That's what it's got to be. But what is it for? I mean, why do they have to use that specific, that technology? Because in Avengers, the Tesseract opened a portal. Right. I guess it was just one. So if he wants multiple portals all throughout Earth to attack the Sanctum, get the Eye of Agamotto, to attack Wakanda, and get possibly another Infinity Stone, and to attack wherever else he needs to on Earth, then I could see that being the way they explain that.
Or Thanos can jump through portals, it seems, but it's certainly interesting that we I guess really guess anybody's guess. It could be a super weapon like the Death Star, but if the Black Order, they probably aren't as powerful, so they need some way to kind of zoom in and out of places.
Right.
We're gonna have a big showdown in New York City again, or at least in the burbs, because it doesn't look like we're in Manhattan. So they need a way to get around.
Yeah. So the next shot we see, then we get to see that Team Stark crew on the streets of New York. Tony very dramatically, almost, I don't know if you ever watched CSI Miami, but the star of that show would always put his glasses on very dramatically.
Gotcha.
This one, it's the reverse, where Tony's like, oh no, there's a really big threat happening.
The Dr. Grant Jurassic Park.
Yes.
I can't believe there's a Brachiosaurus in front of my face.
Exactly.
Look. Yes.
So
classic.
what is he seeing? Is he seeing that giant circle? There's a lot of destruction around Team Stark, which is Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Wong, and Hulk, but just Bruce Banner form. So something has obviously happened there. Is it that ring, and it's it's starting to turn, and it breaks buildings, or has something, possibly even Thanos, come and attacked, and now they're like, oh, okay, we gotta suit up, boys.
Right. I mean, the Eye of Agamotto is in New York, so that's It's so clear, and that's the Soul Stone.
That is the Time Stone.
Time Stone, right. Okay, so someone's coming for that. And if this thing is like, maybe it's a tool of one of the Black Order people to like make earthquakes or like to suss out where the stone is in New York, possibly.
That's possible.
Whatever it is, yeah, like you said, it's causing havoc, and Tony is not happy to see it there. It almost looks like he's having Avenger flashbacks,
right.
Infinity War flashbacks.
I'm sure he is.
Where you're just like, oh no, not now, not again. Oh,
right.
boy.
I mean, if he's on the street in New York, he sees some circular object that is causing destruction and mayhem.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably have flashbacks to Avengers as well, which may be the point of the whole thing, may not be. But after that, then we cut, and we see somebody who appears to be Loki. They don't make it totally clear, but it's pretty clear that Loki is walking over some dead bodies.
Mm-hmm. As Guardians, possibly? Probably.
Probably. I mean, I would say 99% sure that it's, as Guardians.
There's only one people group that we've met that dress like Jedi Padawans, and those are Asgardians. And, people are in their tunics. They look like they're from the olden times. So, and they're also just like in a fiery cave or ship is what I'm betting.
It looks like a ship. I mean, there's clearly, I think it looks like metal
and beams,
or some sort of structural stuff behind him, and it would stand to reason that on the other side of that frame is Thanos. That would seem totally logical. And I mean, I think it would make the most sense. I mean, the setup in Thor Ragnarok of having Tom Hiddleston just stop and look at the Tesseract was so obvious as a setup to Infinity War that, it was just anybody could have picked that out. And now to see it confirmed that, he has it and he's offering it up to Thanos, probably as a, on my knees, please don't do anything to me. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry I lost this originally.
Right.
I've got it back. Yeah. Don't worry. We're all good. But I don't think it goes according to plan for Loki.
I don't. You know what? I have no idea. Maybe this is his last act as a person.
I think he's the first casualty.
That's very possible. I'm going to choose to not believe it.
I hope not.
But yeah, I mean, Loki getting vaporized or... what? I can't even say.
I think it would make the most sense for Loki's arc if, after all this time, it does, end with Thanos being the one to send him off. Because I think, he started down this path with Avengers. He got the Tesseract. He lost it. And now if he's offering it up to Thanos again, being like, hey, I got it. Don't worry. We're all squared away. We're good now, right? We can be buddies. And what better way to establish Thanos as a threat than to kill arguably the best villain the MCU has had on the film side and be like, all right, thanks. It doesn't matter to me. And, you're a goner.
I mean, I guess, that would be the end of it. To me, it would suck to have Loki go out that way, but I understand the poetic justice it would do to Thor's, chiding to him at the end of Ragnarok or near the end of Ragnarok when we almost complete the second act.
Yeah.
Which is him saying, Loki, you just never change.
Right.
You always stay the same, and you're never going to be anything better than you are. And then here we are, Loki watches everyone just go down around him, pulls out the Tesseract, and it's like, all right, here it is.
Yeah.
Got it for you. I'm done. We're good. And then vaporized.
Yeah. But after that, whether or not Loki makes out that scene, is up for debate, obviously. And, he is featured in the Infinity War poster that they released at Comic-Con. So that could, add credibility to the fact that he would make it past this. But again, if he does, what role would he have? That is, a big question if he does make it past that scene. But after that, we see, Loki offering up the Tesseract, but then we get to see the turn of that. And obviously Thanos has accepted it because we see him for really the first time. Again, we saw him at the end of Age of Ultron in hologram form in Guardians, or even in actual form in Guardians as well. and then briefly at the end of the Avengers for the very first time. But this is the first time we've seen him fully. We get to see Josh Brolin actually getting to act as he steps through a portal, obviously created by the Space Stone. And these VFX look real good.
It makes Steppenwolf look like child's play, man.
Right?
Holy smokes. I mean, he's in broad daylight, too. They've got sun shining on his face, and usually you keep your CGI villains in a dark atmosphere and things like that to, hide away some of that stuff. There he is, broad daylight, looking phenomenal.
He's just so detailed. I mean, there are shots later on in this trailer where you could tell me, oh, yeah, well, CGI was getting too expensive and we found a way to do it with prosthetics on the close-up shots, and I would believe you. That's like how good some of these shots are. But just this first look of him, the thing that catches me, it's insane. The thing that always catches me when I look at these shots of Thanos now is his eyes.
Yeah.
Those are Josh Brolin's eyes. Like, it's Josh Brolin's face, it's just pink, there's no hair. I guess it's purple technically.
Yeah.
But like, again, like I after Justice League or even before that, I was like, I mean that'd be the one big concern with Infinity War for me before this trailer.
Complete CG villains. Can
they pull that off effectively? And the early indications are it's a big yes. And it's great to see not only from we start to get his character motivations in this trailer, see what he can do and kind of throw around some heroes. But that's only, even though the way he acts and the way he's portrayed is a big part of him, how he looks is also going to define how great of a villain Thanos obviously is.
Yeah.
And the fact that Marvel is obviously committed to this and they're putting a lot of money clearly into making him look great, I think that speaks volumes, and it will, hopefully take away any chance of Thanos being a disappointment. As a villain that they've been building to for nearly 7 or 8 years at this point.
Yeah, I mean, do you know who's doing VH production on this? Is it Industrial Light and Magic again?
I am not positive.
Okay.
I know Andy Serkis was involved a little bit to help, because he's just, he's the motion performance capture master at this point. Yep. So
Russell Earl from Industrial Light and Magic are helming it.
So that makes sense.
Good gracious.
Other than like War for the Planet of the Apes stuff, like this is, one of the best VFX things I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, you have to. They're obviously adopting. You have to stay with the visual language too, making Thanos look like a real person, like a real monkey type of a deal. That's out of the question. And so they definitely got this just right, because I'm looking at him, I buy that he's a real person or a real humanoid, but also, it's very comic booky and yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and I love the voiceover that's happening throughout all of these various Thanos related shots where it's Thanos again speaking. He says, "Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives." And during that final part is when he pops on the screen for the first time, which is great editing for the trailer itself. But then once the space portal behind him disappears, what we see behind him is maybe some more of that, that one machine in the background. It's clearly blue skies, white clouds. He's clearly on Earth,
right? But
the mechanic stuff behind him, that's where it gets a little hazy for me and confusing. I'm not sure what's happening, unless Thanos has set his army ahead of time, which would make sense. And they've already been causing mayhem. And then he arrives with a couple Infinity Stones. Like, all right, locked and loaded. Let's get down to business.
Yeah, there's definitely kind of desolation there. It almost looks like it could be Wakanda because there's some architectural in the background that we haven't really seen before.
There's also like debris floating in the background.
Yeah, to the left of him, it looks like there's that circular machine as well. Is that possible?
But then the right of him, there's like a thing there's like a circular device with spikes coming out.
Yeah, a spiral.
So I don't know what that is, unless that comes out of the big circular thing in the sky.
Which is highly possible. Maybe it's a ship for the invasion, perhaps.
Yeah, possibly. So moving on from that, then we got to see the Iron Spider suit. What we're calling it.
Action.
And again, VFX on this thing look really, really good.
Yeah, for a 6 month in advance trailer as well. You could argue Spidey does need to have some finer details put on there, and I'm sure they will. But I'm more in awe of the suit. I'm so stoked to see it on someone and finally in a film, which I never thought we would have gotten to this point. No, actually, let me rephrase that. We should have been at this point like 6 years ago, but nobody could really get their things together for Spider-Man series to last long enough to introduce the Iron Suit. So, he looks epic, and I don't know what he's gonna do on that thing, but good luck, Peter.
No idea, because he's just like clinging to the side of it. I mean, that thing was really high up there, so he clearly had to do some web slinging to get on up there to begin with. But I mean, just looking at the detailed versions of the suit, you can see the Iron Man influence clearly. I mean, it looks Iron Man armor-esque in like the way it's formed around him, which is very cool. Then we get to see his eyes light up.
Yep.
So again, more of those upgrades for Spidey. But then one of the more intriguing parts of this trailer come. We see this like, again, very circular mechanical thing out in space, it would appear. And there's this bright light behind it, and then they cut, and Thor is there like holding onto a lever. What is this thing?
I don't know at all. I have not the slightest clue. Because there's a wide shot of him, like almost like Hercules, like struggling in the light to keep the darkness at bay, type of a deal. And is it a hangar bay, and that's where the light's leaking in at?
Maybe.
Is it a horizon?
That's what I was wondering, because I was like, I had to watch it again a couple more times, be like, is he actually trapped there, and he's like a prisoner, and something had opened up a hangar? And like that's why he was like struggling. So he's trying to get free, but it looks like he's just holding on and he's trying to do something with that lever that's in his left hand.
Yeah.
He's trying to do something with it and turn something off or turn something on even possibly. But what that is, I have no idea. I don't know if it's some space defense system or if it's a weapons system. Maybe it's the latest invention from Rocket. I don't know.
Accomplishment for Rocket.
But I mean, it's huge, and I don't know where that fits in. But I mean, maybe that's during Thanos' initial attack on the Asgardian ship, and he's trying to trigger some defense or something.
Yeah.
To stop Thanos from attacking them. I could see that being one possible explanation to it. But the next thing we see, then we get to see a very brief glimpse of Proxima Midnight. As
milliseconds.
Yeah, it launches its spear into the darkness, only to be caught and then revealed to be a bearded Captain America.
Yeah,
stepping out of the darkness, and it's not a lot, but we get to see Proxima Midnight, which is cool, and we get to see bearded Cap for the first time officially.
Yep,
which is obviously a lot of people are already loving.
Yeah, you jumped ahead a little bit, or not jumped ahead, but you just kind of missed. Chadwick Boseman is alive, so that's good news. Yeah. Or not Chadwick Boseman, but
both.
T'Challa as well.
Yes.
We see Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa alive and giving commands about the city and whatnot.
He says, evacuate the city, engage all defenses, and then one of the best lines, and get this man a shield.
Yes.
Now there's, already conversations starting of who is he talking to, or talking about specifically, because the next shot is Captain America stepping out of the darkness.
Right.
But we know that Bucky is there. We know that Bucky's in there. Is he like, all right, we got to go fight, and Bucky needs a shield because otherwise he's defenseless or something. And then that's a subtle way to pass on the Captain America mantle. Maybe.
Nah.
Or once we get later on in the trailer, I think there's potential that he is getting an energized shield.
I mean, listen, I don't want to jump too far, but there's an epic hero shot at the end of this trailer. And you look at his... Captain America's wearing some very awesome gauntlets.
Yeah, his forearms are a bit more covered than they normally are.
Yeah. So, and plus he's in the land of vibranium, so he could go either way. They could give him a vibranium shield. Maybe those are made out of vibranium and they extend or something clever. I don't know. The potential is astounding.
It very much is. So we again continue to progress, see Cap step out of the shadows. We get to see Scarlet Witch. Again, she looks happy.
It looks like she's seeing Cap for the first time.
Like, okay, he's alive. Which does that mean that she is also battling Proxima Midnight, and then Cap just shows up out of the blue, or what's happening there is unclear. But then getting back to the Hulkbuster armor, we see it arrive in Wakanda, but it's not it's not that graceful sort of landing we always see from Tony Stark.
Right.
It's more of a Hulkish landing, which I think again lends credence to the theory that this is Bruce Banner in the suit arriving for the big battle. So then we get to see Black Widow in action with her new blonde look, and she is stabbing somebody very aggressively in the chest. Somebody that's clearly taller than her.
Yep.
Is it one of the Black Order? Is it Proxima Midnight? Probably not Cole Obsidian. Is it Corvus Glaive? We don't know.
She's got a Wakandan spear, and it looks like Proxima Midnight was the one we found hanging out there, at least there for some kind of reason. So perhaps that's what she's doing, putting the final blow on somebody.
It's possible. So, I wonder if it is, because we, soon in the trailer we see Corvus Glaive attempting to pull the Mind Stone out of Vision's skull. Maybe Cap and Black Widow show up as support, and she's able to disarm Corvus Glaive and use his spear against him. Maybe that is what's happening here. After that, we get to see just a nice establishing shot of Doctor Strange.
Yep.
In the city. There's clearly debris around him and whatnot. He's looking up the skies. Something is happening there. The Eye of Agamotto is closed, so you can't tell if he still has the Time Stone or not, which is very clever. But I would, tend to believe that he still does have it if he's still wearing it.
He's still standing. Right.
Just the what would it be? An amulet itself doesn't have any power as far as we've been told. It's the stone that is powering the amulet. So why would he continue to wear it unless he's like, I gotta wear it in case I get it back, which could make sense.
Or he digs his bling. One of the two.
I mean, it's very fashionable. So then we cut and we see a couple of giant spikes come crashing into the forest. Again, appears to be on the outset of Wakanda. So Wakanda's clearly gonna have a big factor in this movie.
Yeah.
But again, Thanos is bringing some new machinery with him. But I don't know what this is doing unless it's another teleportation thing. Later on in the trailer, we see a bunch of aliens come running out of the forest where these appear to be set.
Yeah.
So it could be just a giant transportational hub sort of system.
Troop pods.
Where it's like, if you remember Transformers 3.
Got it.
The Dark Side of the Moon, like the one really old Prime has like all of these like pods, and he sets them up across the world so they can basically, there's transportation systems. I mean, that could be something similar to this, hopefully executed better than a Transformers movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's no possibility they're like troop carriers, or do you think they're actually?
I guess that could make sense as well. I mean, trying to look at them again.
Because I don't know why you would I don't know why if like this was super important to your mission, you would just send it hurtling into the ground. Unless it's just like, all right, I don't really care who gets off this thing because there's a ton of them there.
Yeah, that is a good call. I would probably buy that more than my theory. So after that, then we kind of see some of the action. Yeah. That this movie is going to hold. We got to see a very Josh Straley looking Captain America.
What? That is too
fighting.
Kind.
A weird alien.
A ripoff of Ridley Scott's Xenomorph.
Right.
I mean, that was what it really looks like.
It's got 4 arms. It's clearly very tall.
It's got that very cylinder-shaped neck coming out. So if it had a tail, people would be like, they ripped off the Xenomorph.
Right. But I mean, clearly things are going down in Wakanda. You can see some other Wakandan warriors behind Cap. I think even Black Panther is directly behind him.
Yep.
In one of these shots. But, I mean, things are worse for the wear for these heroes. And then we cut to see Black Panther fighting one of these aliens, which have been identified possibly as Outriders.
Ooh.
I don't have very much familiarity with them. So I don't know what they necessarily can bring. But I mean, clearly it's just another way for Thanos to have a bunch of minions that are different than the Chitauri this time around. And these ones look a little more adept for some brawling.
Oh, yeah. Dude, if you take a look at these things, are definitely Outriders. And you look at them, holy smokes, they look like xenomorphs.
I mean,
there's even a shot of one like with a bunch of eggs around it.
I mean, comics have been known to rip off a few things here and there. So, depending on when these things are created, I don't know that info.
I got you. No, but I hear you.
It would, stand to reason that they're like, hey, Alien's really popular. Let's get a version of these in the Marvel universe.
I hear that.
So then, this thing just keeps on going.
Mm-hmm.
We get a shot of Spider-Man trying to fight Thanos and failing miserably.
He is on the ground, almost looks like the knockout blow for the dude.
Yeah, things are not going well for Peter Parker. He probably thought, all right, I did pretty well in Civil War. I disarmed Cap, and now I proved Tony Stark wrong, and I beat the Vulture. I lost the girl, but I still saved the city.
Yep.
This time, I'm just going to fight an alien. No biggie. One-on-one, it looks like. Whoever made that call, I mean, if that's Tony's call, Tony, you're being a bad mentor.
Yeah.
This kid is young. He's inexperienced. And you're pitting him up against somebody as powerful as Thanos, and he's just getting choked out. And, I mean, it doesn't look good.
Yeah. Really, I think, did we... I don't want to make too big of a leap here during trailer breakdown.
Yes.
But Spider-Man's getting his butt kicked.
Yes.
And Tony seems to be distraught about something early on in this
yes.
trailer. Now, we spoke a while back, Cooper, about Spider-Man's sequel and how it's going to be dealing with the aftermath of Infinity War in some ways. Whatever's happening here is going to be uber traumatic to Spider-Man.
Do you think it's, hang up the suit sort of stuff?
It is... Oh, something very tragic happened to me, and now I don't know if I can go on. And I don't know.
So
can I go? Can I just say this then?
So it's Amazing Spider-Man 2 / Spider-Man 3, kind of.
Kind of. Only it be Amazing Spider-Man.
What do you think happens?
I think Tony's gonna get killed
in this movie.
Really? Trying to protect Spider-Man.
Nah, he's sticking around at least for Avengers 4.
Maybe.
I could see him dying then.
Because these next frames just chalk up something desperate is happening on this orange planet. Parker is injured gravely. Someone's got to save him. Tony's right there.
Yeah, with no suit again.
Why?
Which I think, again, we talked, I believe this before we started recording, that the suit he is wearing is like a track suit, but it has Iron Man elements to it. So I don't know if that's just a fashionable way for him to always have his Iron Man suit with him. But I mean, eventually, we see it very soon that he does suit up.
Yeah. After
we get a couple more shots of Tony looking a little terrorized. But I do think, again, if we go back to the D23 description, there was descriptions of a scene playing out that looks similar to the very first scene we see of this trailer, where Peter Parker is being held by Tony Stark, and Peter's basically apologizing, saying, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. And I wonder if, Thanos puts a beating on Parker, and Tony's got to come in and be like, hey, Thanos, back off, pick on somebody else, and, comes in to save him. And, then, maybe the rest of some other heroes come in to help save the day. And then this movie ends with Peter being, super, in bad shape and just being like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not cut out for this. I'm sorry I let you down. And I mean, that could be interesting.
Right. I mean, when you said Tony's looking, I don't know, you used a word that I think would just totally undersold it. He's a man who's witnessing, his family being taken from him, or the worst possible thing ever in a setting that looks like it's a complete hellscape.
Right.
So, goodness me, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I'm guessing, but Tony dealt with PTSD in Iron Man 3. This looks like nothing I've ever seen him have to deal with before.
No.
Holy smokes.
Again, we'll try to wrap this up relatively quickly, but we don't want to rush through anything. The next shot we see then, Vision on the ground, Proxima Midnight, or not Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive over top of him, trying to pull out that Mind Stone, and Vision's in some pain.
Yeah.
Do you think that it works? Do you think he rips it out in that moment, and they just showed a very key scene of the movie and a death of an Avenger?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think this is the one where it's not like this looks bad, but we'll save him. I think this is this looks bad because it is bad.
Okay.
They've got to complete the gauntlet.
Maybe, I hope so.
Maybe it isn't in this scene,
right?
But maybe it's right after.
So I wonder if Cap and Widow come in, defend them a little bit, and they save Vision momentarily, and then it's okay. Well, we get it later on in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Thanos putting the Space Stone into his gauntlet right next to the Power Stone. So he has those two at least. We never see a shot of his thumb in the trailer, so he could have a third one as well that we don't know about.
Yep.
Then again, we cut to another scene of Thanos, fire all around him in the background, and again, the VFX is incredible in this scene. You could just feel it. And throughout this section of the trailer, Thanos is saying, fun is not something one considers when balancing the universe, but this does put a smile on my face. So another menacing line. We see a shot of Iron Man in some armor. This is one of the shots where the VFX clearly isn't done on this. It looks very video gamey.
Yeah.
But again, we're 6 months out, so there's plenty of time for them to make this one look a little bit cleaner. But again, this is Iron Man. The suits have never been that detailed outside of the very first movie because it was a real suit.
Yep.
Mostly. So, this is kind of the look of them now. But if Spider-Man was having a tough time with Thanos, what Thanos does to Iron Man is just totally disrespectful.
Yeah, no kidding.
He just squeezes the glove, lights up the stones, and just punches him right in the face, and Iron Man just drops like a rag doll.
Looks like he's out cold. Oof.
And again, it's just like the mistreatment of these heroes is like, again, Marvel is delivering, I believe, on Thanos and making him not like, oh, well, Iron Man can get a couple licks in. No. One shot KO, like he's out for the count. Like, I don't want to see, Spider-Man like go toe to toe with Thanos. He can't. He's not powerful enough. I don't want to see Iron Man. I don't want to see Bucky do the same. They can't. If they replicate the comic moment where Cap puts on the Infinity Gauntlet and is like, challenges him basically like, okay, it's you and me, let's go. Okay. We can do that sort of thing, but I don't want to see these lower level people try to attack Thanos and maybe get a few hits in here or there. Thanos needs to deliver on all fronts and not let any cheap shots come in his way.
Right.
So again, as we wrap this trailer up, we see Bucky in Wakanda loading a gun. We see Black Panther kind of claw up as he does. Brings out his claws. Then we see Falcon flying over Wakanda as a big battle enrages in the terrain, and we see Hulkbuster fighting there.
Yeah, out in the middle of there.
So I don't know if that's prior to Bruce's turn in the Hulkbuster, or if that is maybe Friday controlling it separately, or what's happening there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Then we see the alien race, the Outriders, just thousands possibly of them come running out of the forest to attack, and on the other side of this cliff,
this is my favorite clip.
1,000 Wakandan warriors.
Yeah,
here we go.
But the best part is T'Challa is out front. Black Panther is out front, and it's got that that Aragorn Lord of the Rings 3 vibe to it, where he's just like running out there and everyone else is like, oh, I guess we better go follow him.
Okay, we gotta go follow our king. Okay, let's do this. And then the money shot of the trailer.
Yeah.
Bucky, Black Widow, War Machine, Hulk, Falcon, Okoye, Cap, and Black Widow all running together with, again, the army of Wakandans behind them.
Oh,
and
the payoff.
Oh, man. That's just an epic shot.
Yeah. Captain America's got the flow going. His hair's blowing in the wind. The payoff. The Black Panther's getup looks a lot more panthery in the shot, too. It's been a little bit more just kind of face mask in a while, but this one here just looks like They've really, it's definitely taking a new approach, which looks epic.
So clearly Wakanda is, I think, half of the final battle.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing half of the final battle between Iron Man and Spidey on that orange-looking planet fighting Thanos, and then the other half is on Earth with the rest of the heroes battling it out to protect Wakanda, because, as many have theorized, it's the house of the final Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone. So, again, Black Panther, being the movie that leads directly into Infinity War, is going to have some big things to say in setting up this movie, just as many probably as Thor Ragnarok did. Which should be great, hopefully. But, the big mystery to this is we see, one shot of Thor in this until the button scene of the trailer. Because now Marvel is doing, post-trailer scenes, basically. Which is great. And it's Thor eye patch. So this is definitely spoilers for Thor Ragnarok. This trailer is. He's got either some ash or dirt or something all over his face. And he looks off screen and goes, "Who the hell are you?" Or "Who the hell are you guys?"
Yeah.
And then it cuts and it's the Guardians. There's like, Mantis is like, hey,
and
we're here.
The weird thing about this shot too is they look, and I don't know why, but they seem alien in this shot. And it was just kind of like Thor's there, and then you flash over to them, and I'm kind of like, who are these guys?
Right.
I've seen 2 of their movies, but who are they?
Right.
And it's almost, I don't know what they've done. Like Chris Pratt's face is like, I don't know, it just feels distorted a little bit across there. And I don't know if it's because everyone else is out of focus or what the deal is.
Right.
And then teenage Groot's kind of poking his head out like,
or adolescent Groot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is the official term from James Gunn.
Got it.
Because he's not a teenager. He is, 8 or 9 or something.
Right.
Yeah, I think like the alien element of it, I think is a fun thing, because even though audiences know these characters, to 95% of the MCU core characters, nobody knows about the Guardians.
Yeah.
And so to have them kind of be like these wild cards, been like, who are you guys? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Is like a fun element to throw in. But also, like, this is the only thing we see of them. We don't see them at any other points in the movie.
Right.
We don't see Thor. They're not in the Battle of Wakanda.
No.
That's for sure. So they're probably on that off-world, joining up with Team Stark. But we don't see that at all. So if that is how their arc plays out, there's a lot of things that we have not seen yet.
It has all the elements of Star Wars Episode 3, man. I tell you what.
Well, I mean, it's the best prequel, so okay.
Exactly. Well, but the idea that nothing is going to go the way it planned for, that we think it could go planned. And everyone, I mean, there's a 4th film, already lined up and being shot right now.
Right.
So there has to be a desperation at the end of this film, a darkness that has to be, at least tried to, gets tried to be taken out in the next film, in somehow, some way. So
that also somehow allows Ant-Man and the Wasp to come out a couple months after and not have the world be destroyed. And then Captain Marvel takes place 30 years before these events, so it doesn't have that problem. But I mean, we have plenty of time to speculate on how this movie's going to end. But it's just it's great to finally see something. I mean, I've seen some people who've been like, it was good, it was fine, but a little underwhelming. But I think that's just because of the hype that has surrounding this movie, the hype that came out of the Comic-Con trailers. There are certain points where expectations almost can't be met. But I mean, if you're upset that certain characters weren't included or that certain moments, I can understand that. I'm a little bummed, but to say it's a disappointment is an exaggeration.
What did you want them to do? Release the entire movie early? This is a teaser trailer, folks. Because I thought that too. I was like, that was a little, okay. I'm not gonna bow down before this thing. Start a religion based off of it. But that was that was what you would want in a tease of a movie. Yeah. That they want you to go see without spelling everything out for us.
Right. Like, I was expecting, the moment that everybody was talking about after the D23 footage was Thanos throwing pieces of a moon at the Avengers. And like, that scene has been playing in my mind for 5 months now. And I'm like, I want to see that. So the fact that I didn't get it here, I was like, oh, that's a little disappointing. But I got so much other great stuff that I can't be like, oh, this trailer sucks.
Right.
It didn't, like, the best part of the trailer is probably, like, Thanos' VFX and then the money shot at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, I didn't have that visceral reaction of like, oh my gosh, like, you know, if Thanos was hurling a moon at my favorite people, like, you know, so maybe they missed out on that little section, but there's so much good stuff to pull from this that is great. And before we get out of here, we skipped over one other element that, you know, in Black Panther's line, he says, you know, get this man a shield.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you talked about the gauntlets at the end. We can see those in the final moments, which is great. So as we close this out, there's like one question kind of. There's a couple people missing.
Yeah.
So we don't see Hawkeye at all.
No.
Which is strange. We don't even hear him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only OG Avenger not seen, heard, or mentioned in the trailer. Which is a little disappointing. I don't know why you would do that to Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
But then we don't see Nebula, which
true.
Makes sense because she's not technically part of the Guardians, so she wouldn't be in the Milano with them. And then we don't see Ant-Man, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a pixel size in one of these frames, but as far as the naked eye can see, he is not in these. So, do you have any concerns about how these characters are going to be involved?
Two of those make sense. You don't expect to see Ant-Man because he's a loner.
Mm-hmm.
He gets picked up by... He's not a part of Team Cap, really.
No.
And Hawkeye's got his family, and he had to disappear, too. So, he's elsewhere, too.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to go to Wakanda with his family.
Right.
So, I mean, Ant-Man's obviously going out and doing his next movie.
Right.
Or, you know, so I don't know the timetable of that film. But, yeah, so those... I'm not concerned about them. You know,
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ant-Man's not in the movie?
He's in the movie.
Okay. But yeah,
But it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a huge role. Like maybe he'll show up in Wakanda at the very end, or you know, Cap will be like, "Hey man, we need to do this thing." And he's like, "I can't. It's my daughter's birthday or something. Like, I can't miss it." And like, okay, whatever. Like, I'd rather them not shoehorn in these characters for the final moment because they feel like they have to.
Yeah.
As long as they're gonna be in Avengers 4 in big roles, and it seems like Ant-Man should have a decent sized role in Avengers 4, and Hawkeye should have a really big role in Avengers 4 based on everything from the set. So.
Ant-Man's in California, isn't he?
Yes.
So yeah, okay, so depending on what he's up to, I mean, his scenes will just be like, I should probably go get to New York.
Right.
And then it's just him and, not Carlos Pena, but...
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena, yeah. You know, bussing across country
get a 30-minute road trip between them. The movie's like 6 hours long. That'd be great. I mean, I could see him like coming in and being like, you know, we have all these questions about the quantum realm and you know all this time travel stuff, and they're like, and you know somehow through the grapevine, Tony Stark's heard about maybe Ant-Man told Falcon one day like, hey, you know, this one time I shrunk really tiny, went to this really unknown realm, and I came back, and he's like, okay, that's cool, whatever, I hate you, and then they're like, that may be helpful, and they're like, they call him in to get some advice on that sort of thing. I don't know. And Hawkeye, I think he's probably with his family and away from these events until something bad happens. And then he's like, all right, back in this once more. So I think that's it. I think we did it.
And that is
in an hour and 8 minutes. That's all it took.
Infinity War trailer.
Oh boy. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Only 2.5, 3 more months. Tops.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll get one before
Black Panther.
We'll get one for Black Panther. So it just depends on, again, how much of a lead up they want to give before that movie comes out to give the second official trailer for Avengers Infinity War. So for the time being, that's it. This is our pre-100th episode.
Yes.
Even though it's basically an entire episode's length already. But we're going to be back doing a recap of the first 100 episodes, kind of looking back, and also talking some of the news that came out this week. And, you know, there's some good stuff there. So
super good stuff.
Definitely be sure to tune in for our 100th episode this week. And before we sign off here, I did want to mention, because, you know, we try to be active on social media as best we can. And I put out, you know, hey, tell us your thoughts on the Avengers trailer because we want to hear them. And so, you know, our one-time collaborator, who is, unfortunately, she's yet to come back, is Amanda Morris. She was on for our Wonder Woman review, and we're trying to figure out a way to get her back on eventually. And she tweeted me and said, "I'm feeling so many things, and I have so many questions, and I've never been happier." And that's a great summary
yes.
of how to feel after watching this trailer. Great. So just wanted to share her thoughts on that since she wanted to share it with us. We thought we'd share it with you. And hope you guys enjoyed our thoughts on it. If you did, please subscribe, share, retweet, and more. Plus, for iTunes, give us a 5-star review with comments telling us, why you've listened for 100 episodes, or maybe the last 50, or maybe this is your first one, whatever the case is. Let us know why you listened, what's going to keep you listening, and if there's anything we can change to improve the show, definitely let us know, because that's obviously what we'd rather make a better show for you than a worse one. So,
amen.
That's really all we have for this week. So be sure to tell us your thoughts on everything we covered by tweeting us at Friends of Film. We use updates on the podcast, movie news, and more. You can follow me personally on Twitter at MovieCooper and Coops_Hoops.
And you can get at me, Josh, at just Joshua Ryan.
And thanks again for tuning into the Friends of Film podcast. Josh?
Thanks for stopping by, everyone.
And be sure to return in a couple of days for our 100th episode.